Hi, Mikaela. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to the Building Her podcast.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yay, you're welcome. Building Her, just to give you some background, I launched this over 2 years ago. And the reason why it's called Building Her, as my listeners know, is because now that I've built a business, it's less about the business that I've actually built, but it's about the woman and the person that I have become in order to build the business and now maintain the business. Today's going to be a lot of business talk and business conversation because a lot of the girls in my world are early and aspiring coaches and they want to leave their 9 to 5 and they want to build their own thing. As you know, building a business is one of the bravest things you will ever do because I like to say it's personal development on crack.
Mm.
So, I'd love to know from you and your story and your experience, who did you have to become? What version of you did you have to become in order to build the business and sit here today?
Ugh, this is a great question to start off with because the version of me, I there have been many versions of me. I always joke I feel like I've lived 30 lives in the 33 years I've been here earthside in this lifetime, okay? But each version of me served such an incredible purpose and have each version of me got me to where I am ultimately now today, just like for your listeners, just like for you. And there is a past version of me who I have a sad story, right? My parents were never together. I could have gone down a very dark path. My dad and I don't have the best relationship. My mom and I were more like best friends, but I never really had a whole lot of structure growing up. Like I said, but it was just this trauma that that made me and built me into who I am now. But for the longest time, I didn't see it like that. I saw it as in I'm the victim, woe is me, and I was stuck there in my victim matrix for quite some time. And it wasn't until I started to heal from the inside out that I was able to be like, whoa, actually, the reason my life, yes, what happened didn't like in my past it wasn't my fault, but it is my responsibility to heal and to move forward and to find the silver lining and to make something of it and to use everything that I've been through as power to propel myself forward, right? So the version of me who had to die essentially to be who I am now, to have the business that I have now, is definitely, I would say, the most prominent is the one who thought the entire world was against her, that she had no control over her physical reality, and that there was absolutely nothing that she could do to change her circumstances, that she was going to still to always be broke, to always struggle, to always pick the wrong man, right? Like so many different things that I used to believe that I had to heal from, that I had to shift my belief system to change what I felt was true about myself and my life on a subconscious level to become her.
Wow, I just love everything you just shared, and I can resonate with so much of that, especially the victim matrix, as you call it, because I think a lot of us can have our story and upbringing and the characters in that story, and we can absolutely feel like the victim. Um, you said you had to heal from the inside out. What was the thing, if there was anything, that inspired you to heal from the inside out? Was that just something that came across like a thought, like I should probably heal myself, or was there something that happened?
No, I mean, I think that if there is somebody who just like decides one day, like, oh, I need to heal from the inside out, just because like they're very lucky because the majority of us we've got to experience a dark night of the soul, which is essentially when your entire life feels like it's blowing up right in front of your face and you're like, why is this happening to me? And then you realize, holy shit, this isn't just happening. This isn't happening to me. This is happening for me. Right. So when you, it was, I hit rock bottom essentially. And it wasn't the first time that I had hit rock bottom. I have hit rock bottom what feels like probably 3 times in my life. And what happens is I call these situations reflections. So, reflections in my world are situations you find yourself in, experiences you experience, or people who treat you in ways that you don't want to be treated, or situations that you don't want to be in, or things that you find yourself in that simply aren't the vibe, right? And I was experiencing a lot of reflections for years, but I didn't know what the universal law of reflections was. So I wasn't able to see them for what they were, which is actually signs, gifts from my higher self, letting me know that I was extremely not living in alignment, that I needed to heal to see the lessons for what they are in order to shift them and heal on a subconscious level to create a different reality for myself. I was just, again, like I said, staying in that victim mindset of woe is me and there's nothing that I can do here. This is just the way that life is. So when I was able to see the signs or the reflections for what they were, I was able to shift and I was able to heal and I was able to create a different reality for myself. So the rock bottom for the last time where I then figured out, okay, this is a like, what is the common denominator with all of these things, right? Me.
Mm.
It's me. So what happened was I've actually was in network marketing before I started the business that I have now as an intuitive. And I was in health and fitness for over a decade, and was in network marketing selling Arbonne. If you don't know, it's like a beauty and health product, right? For in network marketing. I thrived in network marketing. I made it to the top 2% of the company. I drove the Mercedes Benz, like the whole nine, right? Walked the stage a couple of times. But when I tell you I was so drained, like I was so drained, and they make it look like such like it is an accomplishment, and they make it seem like it's so much money and you're living this lavish lifestyle, and it's almost like keeping up with the Joneses on steroids, and like it's just this whole facade I felt like, and I really felt ingenuine. I felt like I very out of alignment. I was burnt out, and I felt like I was just like acting a- as a different person. And other than who I feel like is most authentic to me. And network marketing was great. It was, I say, entrepreneurship on training wheels, right? And it really did set the stage for building the business that I have now today. And for that, I am so, so grateful. And when I went through that transition of, okay, I'm not going to do network marketing anymore, and I'm going to start my own coaching business doing intuitive work. I've always been intuitive, but I didn't know that I could take this and help and train it and hone in on it so well, and then help other people in their life, in their businesses, etc., in their relationships using my intuition, right? I didn't know any of that at the time, but I just had this intuitive knowing that like I needed to build a business using my intuition. And so I did, and everyone thought I was literally crazy. They were like, "Did Mikaela, is she well? Like, is she falling off the deep end? What is she doing online talking about reflections and the universal laws and intuition and self-love and self-image? Like, what is she like? Is she okay?" Because the reason and how this all got brought up in that rock bottom was like, I my team at network marketing, like you have to have a team of people who help you reach your goals, right? So they all quit what seemed like overnight. So my income went from 6 grand a month, which okay, cool, to like which I thought at the time was so much money. I was like, ah. Anyways, I digress. So I lost it all, what seemed to be overnight. Then I had no clue what I was going to do. It took me a minute to figure out, oh, I'm going to use my intuition as a business. And I was in a relationship at the time. I had just turned 30 years old. And when you turn 30, you're like, especially if you're not in a relationship and you don't have a career, actually, it's the quite opposite. Like society puts so much pressure on you to have it all figured out by that age. So I was having so much anxiety and depression around not having it all figured out. And I was like, okay, I need to do something about this and fix it. But like, also, then on top of it, I got dumped because I didn't have a 401k and a steady income. Literally, that's what he said. I know, hilarious.
What?
Uh-huh. Kicked me out of the house. I was homeless for a month. Yeah. And then I finally got this intuitive ping to move to Costa Mesa. Got approved for a 250 square foot apartment, studio apartment, like the smallest situation of my life. Had no clue how I was going to pay rent or what I was going to do for work in the meantime while building my business, because, that era of life. But I just knew I had to move. I knew I had to get out of Ventura, which is where I'm originally from in California. And I've always been a beach girl my entire life, but I knew I had to leave. So I left. I went to Costa Mesa, California, another cute little beach town, rented the little apartment, dove head first into this work that I now live, breathe, and teach, rebuilt myself from the ground up, really struggled, worked 3 part-time jobs while building my business. Yeah, I really just like, it was like, oh, you're gonna regret that, motherfucker. Like, let's be so for real. I was so fueled by not just that, not just from my ex, like dumping me in the way that he did, but like also, it was the day after Christmas, mind you. Like, there was so, like, it was so messed up, but I had to heal from that. And when I was healing from that, I really did, it lit a fire into my ass. I was like, because I know that my success is inevitable, right? And so I just knew that I was going through a rough patch. And I also knew that if there's a will, there's a way. And I had a will, and I was going to find a way to make sure that my situation changed. And it has, but it took a lot. And I had to go through that dark night of the soul, and I had to heal and find, okay, why am I experiencing all of these different reflections? Why am I attracting the same man in different outfits and different bodies? Why am I attracting the same money problems in different ways in different times of my life? Like, why am I attracting, just situation after situation that was simply not fucking it? That I knew I was the common denominator. There was something within me that needed to heal that was attracting my energy, I call it the creator field, because I can kind of explain what that is if you want, but it's the energy that attracts everything for us. So I knew it was me who was attracting the situations, the same ones over and over and over again. And that I was the only person who was going to be able to change the reality for myself. And so I've used this work that I now teach and live and breathe to change my reality. And my reality has quite literally changed and taken a huge 180.
That's
That was
so
a long-winded
insane.
answer, but
Oh, I love it so much. I had no idea that you experienced your rock bottom and what that involved and how he broke up with you and the reasons of why he broke up with you. Get the fuck out of here. That's insane.
literally, literally.
But also, I am also so glad that all of that happened because, to your point, it worked for you, not to you. And look at where you're at today. And it's such a beautiful product of that entire journey. When you talked about your rock bottom, were there parts of you that you had to forgive? And I say that because I was not at a rock bottom. I thought life was good. I've got this job and it's safe and secure and on paper it looks good. But then I went to Tony Robbins and that whole experience just rocked my world. Like it just shook it. at its core because I didn't know anything about intuition, about mm, strategies or not strategies as tools like visualizing and meditation and breath work, journaling. Like I had no fucking clue. And in that seminar, I had to forgive myself and forgive others who in my story had wronged me. And that was like my catalyst that opened up this world for me. And so I think for you, my question or my curiosity is around that rock bottom time. Cause it's still like now when we talk about it, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm at rock bottom. And so I'm gonna, like have all the answers. And so in the shit, literally, like when you're in it, what parts of you did you have to like face and forgive? And maybe others that you had to forgive so that you could move through it, so that you could realize, okay, this is all happening for me. And oh, okay, that intuition and the business, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, the amount of blame, like I said, victim matrix. So the amount of blame of, like I said, I don't have a good relationship with my dad. And I was blaming him for my lack of success. Oh, well, if he was just there for me more, then I wouldn't have searched everywhere else for that love and for that affection and for that attention. Or if he would have just like been there for me the way he is with his other kids, then I would be more financially well off because they didn't have to pay rent at the age of 14 years old, right?
Mm,
So on and so forth. The story just goes on and on and on. Like I could just go on and on and on.
yeah. Yeah.
But I had to forgive him. I had to forgive him. I had to see it for what it was. And the fact is, if it weren't for the relationship that I have or lack thereof with my father, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be the human that I am today. I wouldn't be able to resonate with people, wouldn't be able to resonate the way that they resonate with me because I have experienced daddy issues in my past, right? Not only that, but like if it weren't for that poor relationship, I wouldn't have experienced so many reflections when it comes to dating. And because my reflections in dating reflected my fucking daddy issues at the time, right?
Mhm.
And if I hadn't experienced all of those, I wouldn't have the stories that I have to tell now when it comes to dating and relationships. And that's like my bread and butter, right? And then, so it's like there's just this ripple effect that you notice of like, yeah, things that have happened that simply aren't the vibe. They're not easy. They suck. But there's also always a silver lining. There's always a reason that happened for you. We were all put on this earth with a soul contract. And that contract, the people who are in your contract are contracted to you on purpose for a purpose. And it's your responsibility to figure out what that purpose is and to make the most of it. And we are all, I feel like everyone's just like asking, like, what's my purpose in life? Maybe even here, maybe
Mhm.
especially you're listening, like, well, I want to grow a business. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like, what's my purpose though? Like, what do I do? How do I help others? Well, we all have a collective purpose, and that is to experience life, to learn lessons, and to teach others those lessons that we've learned, and to help people who are a past version of us be better and to work through their own shit, right? And to be there for them in that way. And you might make that a business. You might just be there for your friend or, somebody who crosses paths with you, whatever it may be. But that is quite literally your purpose. So ask yourself, like, what's the bane of my existence that I have healed and worked through? You can definitely do something with that because that is a part of your soul contract. And that's why you've experienced all of this shit that you've experienced because you're literally meant to use that shit and turn it into fucking gold. And that's what I've done.
Mm. I love everything about that. The soul contract, like immediate relief came over me just hearing and knowing that this is your soul contract because again, it just further validates life is happening for you, not to you. And so even if it's perceived as negative or, that girl's a bitch or so and so did this or whatever it is, it's like, no, no, no. Like, what am I learning from this? Because to your point, we're all learning lessons. And then what are you doing with those lessons? Are you hoarding it? Are you keeping it? Or are you sharing it? Are you teaching it so that others can also benefit from your knowledge and your wisdom? So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your upbringing and the forgiveness. And I can tell you've done the work and continue to do the work, and clearly why you're sitting here today, because usually forgiveness is like a tricky subject. It's like, ooh, I don't know, or like it's vulnerable for
Mm-hmm.
people. But it's like that just shows me, well, you still got to forgive then, either yourself
Mm-hmm.
or people. And I always highlight that subject of forgiveness because I work with clients today and they want to grow their business. And, let's say they sign one or two high ticket clients, but then they're like afraid to receive the money, or, a thought bubbles up. Am I good enough? Can I even help them? Can I even teach it? And what I've realized in my journey, it's the forgiveness that I've had for myself and for others and continue to do so because there's new people coming in all the time. It's in the forgiveness where I'm able to observe my thoughts, meaning I don't attach myself to everything, right? Like the inner critic. It's like, well, actually, I can separate, I can dissect, I can see, okay, well, that's not very empowering. That doesn't make me feel good, and I choose not to listen to it. And so what do I choose instead? And I really feel like that's like the number one thing that keeps me going. I'm almost 6 years in business. So for you, I would love to know more about your inner dialogue, or being the observer of your thoughts as an intuitive, as someone that quite literally had to lean into intuition to overcome and heal from everything you've gone through.
Yeah. Um, Before, I feel like on the topic of forgiveness and how important it is to forgive and to release those stuck emotions, like, you guys, if you are holding on to anything that you know is not helping you move forward, and it quite literally is sludge, like stuck in your body, because I want you to think about it like that. Like, it is quite literally toxic shit building up in your body that if you do not release it, it will manifest into physical body ailments, illness, disease, sickness, right? So many different things that you'll experience that are simply not the vibe because you are holding on to emotions that are not serving your highest good, period, end of story. So, yes, like, not just forgiving my dad, that was a huge one for me. And my not enoughness, like you were mentioning, that the thoughts that come up of not feeling enough was also from childhood, of never being enough for my dad, and having to release that and having to do somatic work of like screaming and crying and dancing, but like not dancing, like embodiment work, right?
Mhm.
And forgiving myself. I did so many, I call them fuck you letters, right? I've done a fuck you letter for literally everyone in my entire life who I've ever felt has done me wrong. And these letters don't end. Like, I've done multiple for the same person. I do multiple for, like, if somebody pisses me off, like, I'll do a fuck you letter. I burn it. I choose to release it. I don't reread it. And then I immediately will write, not immediately all the time, but sometimes immediately will write a forgiveness letter. And that forgiveness letter is just as important because you want to not just release the emotions and honor these emotions as they come up. Because, like I said, if you don't, they can manifest into the physical and things that just aren't what you want. Everything has a energetic root cause. Every illness, every sickness, every body element that isn't the vibe has an energetic root cause. And so if you are not able to release those emotions, that emotion will quite literally eat you alive. So you want to release them, but then you want to forgive, because if you don't forgive, then you're hoarding onto another emotion, and that emotion is resentment and anger. And emotions like that are the ones that are going to have the most negative effect. Like they manifest into cancer. And we obviously don't want to manifest cancer in our physical body. So, just to add on to the importance of forgiveness and letting your emotions out of your body and releasing those emotions, like the importance of that is so, so, so huge. But then to go on and talk about the question that you had asked me about, like what my inner dialogue sounds like. So I preach self-love and self-image. So self-love, the source definition, source, God, universe, whatever word best resonates with you. The definition of self-love is the ability to prioritize yourself and put yourself first at all times. Self-image is how you perceive yourself and how you perceive others perceive you. So basically, those two things are the fucking key to thriving in life. And if you have a high self love and self image, you are golden. But if you're constantly letting your boundaries down, or if you don't have boundaries at all, if you are constantly letting people walk all over you, if you are constantly people pleasing, if you are constantly saying yes to things that you don't want to say, that you actually want to say no to, then your self love is going to be in the trash can, dumpster fire, trash can vibes, okay? And then if you have a high self image, that means that your confidence is through the roof, that you know your fucking value without the physical aspect of things, but you know that value, that you are the best fucking thing since sliced bread. It doesn't matter if Susan from high school does the same exact thing as you. It doesn't fucking matter because you're the best of the best at what you do, and nobody can do it the way that you can do it. And nobody can say or teach, even if it's the same, if you were to start doing the same thing that I do, it wouldn't matter because there's no way that you can do what I do better than me. And there's no way that I could do what you do better than you, even if we're doing the same thing, because we are two totally different people and we are going to resonate with different people and with the people who are meant for us, right? So my inner dialogue prior to this work, prior to honing in on my self love and self image, because they were in the trash, like bottom scum, trash can, dumpster fire, disgusting. So that's where it was. I didn't have confidence. I didn't see my value. I tied my value to my appearance. I did not put myself first. I people pleased. I woke up eventually in 2021 living a life that didn't even feel like my own because I was just outsourcing all of my opinions and, oh, do you think this is a good idea? Or do you think this is good? Or what should I do here? Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it was terrible. And I just felt like my life wasn't my own. So the first thing that I had to do was learn how to trust myself again. And it had to go from you're not good enough or you fucked up your life too much already to where why would you trust yourself? Like why would you do things that you feel are a good idea because you've already fucked up your life so much, right? So the first thing was healing that. The second thing was putting myself first, creating boundaries, no matter what, always saying if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no, right? And then the third thing was raising my self image, which was just stop trying to constantly get validation from outside of myself in the form
Mm-hmm.
of my dad, in the form of men, in the form of work, and just be it my fucking self and learn how and who I actually am to my core. And then to learn to love her so much and to stop looking over the fence at what everyone else had or how they did what they did or how they looked and to really just focus on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't easy work, but it was work that worked so well that I took all of it and I turned it into a signature course and I turned that shit into gold.
Amazing. I just resonate with so much. And some of this I didn't know about you. So I just really appreciate this conversation because I feel really connected with your story and everything that you say. I'm like, yes, yes, that's exactly what I think. especially the part with feeling drained back at like network marketing, or you talked about pretending and living out of alignment and how it could turn into physical disease and sickness. Yeah, I couldn't agree more because that heaviness, like people feel the difference, right? When you feel, when you're excited for, I don't know, an upcoming date or hobby or event, like you feel physically excited and you feel light and you feel energized. But then if you have to go to work on a Monday morning and now you feel heavy and sluggish and yeah, heavy is a good word. I think that's like the clearest sign that you are not living in alignment, that you are out of alignment. I think the easiest way I can always give my clients is, does something give you energy or does it take your energy, right? Because you use that word drained. And so
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of people who, let's say, are in their 9 to 5s, they don't know anything outside of it if that's where they still are, especially after college, right? Like that was me. I went to college and then I got a real grown-up job and then I just kind of did what everyone else told me. I was not intuitive whatsoever. I was like, I think I should do this, and my mom wants this, and my dad wants this, and this pays the bills. Okay, which a lot of people, unfortunately, are still living that way. And so they don't even know what alignment is. They don't know the difference. They don't know this heavy energy or that it can feel light, right? So,
Hmm.
my question back to you is, someone who's in a job and they see a lot of people building their own businesses, and maybe there is a desire on their heart or at least a curiosity, but they don't know that world yet. It just still feels very scary. It feels very far off. The thoughts are, well, who am I to do that? I've never built a business and I don't know everything yet. I'm not good enough. What advice would you give them? Like, where could they even start to tap into intuition or discover what would be something in alignment? Where do they, maybe like three tangible tips?
Okay. Well, the first, I think that what you just said about how to know if you're in or out of alignment is that feeling of heaviness versus expansion. Do you feel lit the fuck up every day when you wake up? Like, are you ready to jump out of bed and like get your day started? Because I am. Like,
Same.
what? Like,
Likewise. Yes.
right? And that's how you know you're in alignment. Whereas when I was in network marketing, or before that in I was working in fitness. I was teaching fitness classes. I was with clients. I was bartending too. I bartended for over a decade. I think 15 or 16 years I bartended. Yeah. So that was extremely out of alignment for me, but like it worked until it didn't, right? And so the first thing is to figure out if you are in or out of alignment. That would be my first tip. And if you find yourself that if you find yourself that you are finding yourself out of alignment, is what I should say, start to ask yourself. I always give this tip to my clients, like write out all of the things that you love to do. Like all of the things that you love to do that light you up, that make you excited. It doesn't even matter if you are like, how is playing baseball gonna light me up, right? Like that's not, unless you're gonna go into the MLB, which, right? So I want you to write down all of the things that light you up, make you excited, that you love to do, passion, hobby, whatever the fuck it is. Like write it down on a little piece of paper. And then after that, you're going to next to it write down any way or any thought that you feel you could get paid for doing that thing. Like there are literally people out here making toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? There are so many things that you can do that people are just like, I found this little niche, I found this gap that no one else is doing, or like this gap that needs to be filled, and I'm filling it. And I just started, and I just put one foot in front of the other, and I just started. I stopped letting my excuses get the best of me, and I just started. I could have gone down the rabbit hole of who am I to do this, or the market is too saturated, or whatever, so on and so forth, right? There's so many excuses, and you can either be a victim of the excuses or you can just do one thing at a time and move the needle in the right direction. So, what is it that you like to do? And then how can you find a way to make that make you money? And if you write down all of the things, there's got to be at least two things on that list where you can figure out a way to make money doing that thing. And I'm going to give you a perfect fucking example of this. The reason that baseball came to my mind is because my fiance and I were at dinner, and this was like in the beginning stages of us dating. So he was still my boyfriend at the time. And he had taken me out to dinner to celebrate a milestone that I had hit in my business. And he was like listening to me, so lit up and excited about what I'm creating. And he was like, because when we first started dating, I was still in the very beginning stages of me growing this business. And so he was just listening to me and he was like, God, I want to be as passionate as you are about what I do. And my heart, just, oh.
Of course.
And I was like, okay, well then like let's figure it out. Like, what do you love to do? I literally did the same exercise with him. And I was like, he's like, well, I love baseball. He's played baseball his entire life. And we sit there at that dinner and I'm talking to him and I'm like, you love baseball. We know you're not going to go into the MLB. Like that time unfortunately has come to an end. But you can coach, right? And he goes, well, I don't have any. All of a sudden, all these excuses come into his mind. I don't have any experience coaching. I don't know if I'm going to be good enough coaching. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean, girl? Or man, guy, dude? What do you mean? I'm used to coaching women. I'm like, what do you mean? You have played ball since you were 5 years old. Like, you love it. You're passionate about it. If you were a coach, you would be incredible. You have great leadership skills. I immediately start hyping him up. And I'm not just hyping him up, blowing smoke up his ass. I'm actually telling him all of the things that I know about him and all of the qualities and attributes that he has, right? And immediately his perspective is beginning to shift of like, my mindset was in the trash. And now, okay, maybe there is an opportunity here for me. And he goes, well, how could I do this? And I'm like, I don't know how, but that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to believe that it's possible. Do you believe that it's possible that you could be a coach for a baseball team? And he goes, yes. And I said, all right, great. So let's just put it out into the world that you are going to become a baseball coach. And he goes, okay. We end dinner. We go about our lives. 2 weeks later, he sends me this ad in the paper that's also online. And it's the head coach position for our local high school baseball team had opened up. And he goes, should I apply? And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Yes, you should apply. He goes, well, I don't know what I am going to do for work, because he worked a 9 to 5 that he fucking hated going to every day, right? And he's like, I just can't do this 9 to 5 thing. But like, the practice would start at 3:30 until 5:30, right? And like, games on Saturdays, like, it would be a lot. So he would need a job that's really flexible. And I'm like, well, what about your uncle? Your uncle owns a company. You could work for your uncle. That would be flexible, and he'll work around your baseball schedule, and they're there, right? So he applies for the job. First they have to go through all the people who actually work at the high school. No one wanted the job at the high school. So then it opens up to the public. I think there was like 10 other guys who applied, maybe more, for the position. Bryson got hired. That's my fiance's name. He got hired. So now he is going on his second year, the head coach of our local high school baseball team. Absolutely loves it, thriving, doing an incredible job, loves what he does for work, wakes up so excited. I've never seen him so passionate about what he does, right? So if there is a will, there is a way. You just have to figure out what it is that you like, that lights you up. How can you get paid for it? All of the limiting beliefs that come up, squash them. How are they not true? You take them through, I like to call this just the belief blaster. All right, let's call it that.
Love it.
Write down all of the limiting beliefs that you're having, anything that comes to mind, anything that we've mentioned previously. Then you're going to go ask yourself the question, is this the ultimate truth? Absolutely not. I'm going to give you
Mm.
the answer to that question is always no. Then you're going to ask yourself, what do I choose to believe instead? Just how you were mentioning earlier. What do I choose to feel instead? And you're going to be like, okay, if I feel like the market is too saturated, the opposite of that is no one can do what I do the way that I do it. I'm the best of the best at what I do. And then this is the thing. This is what makes what I do so much different than what you're going to find anywhere else. I do not believe affirmations do jack shit because you could stare at yourself in the fucking mirror until you're blue in the face and say, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. But if your subconscious is like, no, bitch, you've got cobwebs in your bank account, like you're tripping, right? Then that it doesn't match, right? Like it doesn't make sense. And your conscious mind is going to talk you out of it. Your logical mind is going to talk you out of it. You're going to continue to take actions that are the same as the one who's the broke version of you because that's what you believe. And it's all connected. It's all a spider web. So what you have to do is take whatever that limiting belief is and you make what I call an emotional ingredient out of it. Just like you need ingredients to bake a cake, you need the perfect amount of ingredients to manifest your physical thing. So you're going to take whatever that limiting belief reframe is, and you're going to write it in your notes app in your phone, and you're going to prove it true to yourself every single day until you are rooted to that belief over 98%. And I use intuition to see how rooted somebody is to a specific belief. I've trained my intuition over the last 3 years now to using neuroscience and precise trained intuition to get to the percentage that I'm talking about, right?
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you are super rooted to that. And when you know you're rooted without, let's say you don't have intuition, it's just a non-declarative meaning. It's just how you be. And there's no like question around that belief now. But you want to just continue to root to it every day because that helps your subconscious and your conscious mind speak the same language. Because if they're not speaking the same language, nothing's going to click, nothing's going
Mm-hmm.
to change, right? So, long winded answer again, but
Yeah. But such sound advice. I love everything you just shared, especially with the story, because stories make it so much more real for us, right? We learn through our storytelling, but it also just made it feel so possible for us. And those were tangible tips that someone listening to this can actually walk away with and start tomorrow, because you mentioned the list and right what you love doing and then could you get paid for it, and the whole time you were talking I was thinking you can literally make a business in any type of industry now talking about anything. You mentioned toilet paper. Guarantee you start a YouTube channel right now talking about Charmin and whatever other toilet paper brands there are. Guarantee you
yes.
might make money from YouTube. You know what I mean? Like it's limitless. I mean, we're in a digital age and AI, like you literally have an idea, you put that shit online, guarantee there's going to be a way you can make money. So I love that. I feel like I could talk to you for hours, but mom life, I have to wrap this up, but maybe we do a part two. I would love to do that. Let us know if you love this conversation, want us to do a part two. Before I let you go, I do have one last question. What is one small shift or move or step that someone listening today could make to change their life? Like I'm talking, this is the first step, this is the thing you do, and just watch the rest unfold. What would be the one thing that you tell them to do?
Trust yourself,
Ooh, I like
period.
that.
Learn how to trust yourself, Because if it weren't for learning how to trust myself again, I wouldn't have the fucking life that I live today. I wouldn't be engaged to the love of my life. I wouldn't be living in the house, a 3 bedroom, 2 bath near the beach, 2 minutes down the street from the beach. I wouldn't be driving my a brand new 2025 car, right? Like I wouldn't be I wouldn't have a business that I have. I wouldn't be investing in the mentorship that I am. And because of all of that, that was all because I trusted myself. That was all because I took a chance on myself, even when it didn't logically make sense.
Yeah, I
So
love
if
that.
there's one thing that I could say, it would be to trust yourself. Like learn whatever you need to do in order to trust yourself. Like I have an entire course on like awakening your intuition and trusting
Mm.
yourself, and that would be the main thing that I would have to say.
Yeah, such a good answer. And I couldn't agree more. Trusting yourself is truly like the first stepping stone. And just watch other stones appear and watch it all unfold when you bet on yourself. You are your safest investment. So I love that.
Period.
Before
Yes.
I let you go, where can everyone find you? How can they get in your world? How can they work with you? Give us all the details.
Amazing. So I am across all socials, Mikaela Wallet underscore, and my website is mikaelawallet.com. My maiden name is Filar, so that's why my podcast is Intuitive Flow with Mikaela Filar. But I am getting married in May, so everything will be legally wallet. Like I've got money in my wallet. Best believe there's a money manifestation course coming out soon. Like we're capitalizing on that.
Love it. You heard it here first. That's
Yes.
awesome. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Well, thank you so much for being here and gracing us with your wisdom and knowledge and giving such tangible, clear advice and steps and tips for someone who is not an intuitive, who is out of alignment unknowingly, and for them to start down this path. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk next time.
Amazing. Thank you. Bye.